Okay, welcome back. Today we'll be studying fractions, that is from grade 10. To start with, now you know what is a fraction, where you have a numerator and a denominator. Now first let us just revise the lessons we have studied so far. I mean the part which is based on fractions. Now if you take fractions, you have certain calculations to be done. Okay, let us take the operations, that is addition, adding of two fractions, and also subtraction, and then multiplication and division. So now when you have two fractions to be added, always, okay, when the denominators are same, you can just add them, or if the denominators are not same, that is where you have to find the LCM and then make it same and then add. Okay, now I'll take two examples, that is 204 plus 104. Now if you look at these two fractions, the denominators are same, so the solving is very easy. When you have addition, always the denominator should be same. Here the denominators are same, therefore you can just add 2 plus 1 is equal to 3, and what about the denominator? It should be same. Okay, let us take one more example, that is where the denominator is not same. So let me consider 104 plus 308. Now if you look at these two fractions, here the denominator is 8 and the denominator is 4. So the denominators are not same. So in order to add these types of fractions, you have to make the denominator same. That is, I can multiply the LCM of 4 and 8 is 8. Therefore, in order to get 8 here, I have to multiply this by 2, also this also by 2. So here I get 2, 2 plus 3 is equal to 5, 5 over the same denominator. Was that part clear? Okay, so let us move on to subtraction. First I'll consider two fractions with same denominator, that is 8 over 6 minus 3 over 6. Now since the denominators are same, you can just subtract. Okay, 8 minus 3 is equal to 5, denominator should be 6. Okay, let me consider an example where the denominator is not same. Okay, and 3 over 16. Now can you observe that the denominator here is 8, here it is 16. So in order to solve, you have to make the denominators same. So the LCM of 8 and 16 is 16, therefore in order to make it 16, I multiply by 2, therefore I multiply the numerator also by 2. Therefore here I have 8, 8 minus 3 is equal to 5, 5 over 16. Now remember this part. Always when you add two fractions or when you subtract two fractions, always the denominator should be same. Otherwise you can't solve it. You have to always make it same. But in division and multiplication, it is different. Okay, let me take one example under multiplication. Okay, let me consider 6 over 10 multiplied by 8 over 5. Now most people make a mistake here. That is what they think is, even in multiplication, that they think that you have to make the denominator same. No, it is completely wrong. Understand? Only in addition and subtraction, you have to make the denominators same. Now in multiplication and division, you don't have to do anything of that type. Okay, just solve it. Understand? You just have to multiply the numerator by the numerator, denominator by the denominator. That is the normal step. Okay, and then simplify. But before solving, I can simplify some of the answers. That is, I can divide this by 2. That is going to give me 3. This also by 2. That is going to give me 5. Okay, so can you solve any numerator and denominator? You can solve up and down. Simplify. Okay, now you don't have any other answers to be solved. So 8 into 3 is going to give me 24 over, just multiply the denominator by the denominator. 5 into 5 will give you 25. Was that part clear? That's all you have to do. Multiplication and division, you don't have to make the denominator same. You just have to multiply. Okay, now let us move on to a division. Now division, even here people make mistake. What is the division real about? Okay, what is the real fact? Now how do you solve division? Okay, The step is simple. You have two steps to be solved. First is that you have to follow these steps, okay? You don't solve anything with division. We convert it into multiplication. That is, first you write the first fraction as it is, 4 over 5. Now instead of this division, you change the sign into multiplication. Now in maths, you just cannot change anything. If you are changing division into multiplication, there is something else you have to change. Okay? The extra change that I am going to make is that I am going to write the reciprocal of the next fraction. That means as soon as you change division into multiplication, next I have to interchange this numerator and the denominator and write it. That is, you call it reciprocal. So you write 10 over 25. Now this looks like our normal multiplication. How do you solve? It is just you have to multiply, or the normal step is just multiplying the numerator and the numerator, denominator and the denominator. So in case if you can simplify it. So up and down you can simplify, okay? So here you have 1 5, here you have how many 5s? 2. So you cannot solve further. So multiply now. 4 into 2 is 8 over 25. Was this part clear? Okay. Now these are the calculations you have based. Now based on this you have long questions, okay? And now you should understand what is this unit fraction about. What is this unit fraction? Then you have proper fractions and then improper fractions. Also you have mixed fractions, okay? Now this you already know it. Unit fraction means always the numerator will be 1 over any number you like. Understand? Proper fraction means proper. The numerator is smaller than the denominator. Say 8 over 50. Improper is the opposite. The numerator is larger than the denominator. It's 25 over 4. Mixed fraction. Yes, you have whole number also. 2 and 3 over 4. This is a mixed fraction. Always mixed fraction can be converted to improper fraction, and improper fraction can be converted to mixed fractions, okay? Now first let me change this mixed fraction into improper fraction. This is just a revision. So how do you solve? You have to multiply the denominator and the whole number. That is 4 times 2 is equal to 8 plus 3. That is going to give me 11 over the same denominator, that is 4. Okay. Now can you see that the answer is in improper fraction? Okay. Next is changing improper fraction to mixed fraction. How do you solve? Check how many 4s are there in 25. Dividing 25 by 4. Actually it is equal to 6. So write the number here. Now when you divide 25 by 4, you have 6 4s, and what is the remainder? 1. So write the remainder in the numerator and write the same denominator. So it is 6 and 1/4. So if you are again going to change this into improper fraction, multiply 6 into 4, 24, plus 1 is equal to 25 over 4. Was that part clear? Okay. And further solving, say you have some types of fraction that is inside bracket, and then you have say a multiplication and then division, addition, all that. What is the steps you have to follow? You have to always consider BODMAS method. Brackets, you have to solve what is inside the bracket, and then of division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. Okay. Now, and one more part, you should know what is equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions. What is this about? Equivalent fraction means for a fraction you have to write another fraction which is equal in value. Okay. There are two types. One is by multiplication, one is by division. Multiplication, you can use it for anything you like. Okay. Say you have a fraction 2 over 3. So they are asking you to write an equivalent fraction. How do you write? You just have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number, any number you like. So let me multiply by 4. That is going to give me 8 over 12. Okay, you can multiply by any number you want. both the numerator and the denominator should be multiplied by the same number. And division. Now the division part is used when the numerator and the denominator are larger and if they are divisible by the same number. Consider 50 over 24. Now see, this is bit larger numbers and both of these numbers are divisible by a common number. Let's take 2. So even this is divisible by 2. Both should be divisible by the same number. You cannot change it, okay? Therefore 50 divided by 2 is equal to 25. Here you get 12. Okay? Now say for an example you have something like this, 8 over 7. Now can you divide this? No, you can't. So in case now you cannot divide both the numerator and the denominator by same number. Na? So in these types of questions, always you have to follow multiplication. Multiplication can be done. Okay? Was that part clear? Okay? So using this knowledge, let me solve one question. Okay? That is, let's say 1.5 plus 2 and 2/4 minus 1 and 2/3. How do you solve this? Now first, since these are in mixed fraction, let us convert it into improper fractions. Okay, what are the steps you have to follow? First, okay, 2 you have to multiply by 1, that is equal to 2, plus 1 is equal to 3 over 2. Next, plus 4 times 2 is equal to 8, plus 2 is equal to 10 over 4, minus 3 plus 2 is 5 over 3. Okay, now we have converted. Now you have to, since you have so many operations, you have to follow both maths. So first I'll do the addition part. So I can solve it here itself. Since the denominators are same, since it is addition, you have to make the denominator same, don't forget it. So I multiply this by 2, this also by 2. So here I have 4, 4. So the denominators are same. Here I have 6 plus 10 is equal to 16 over 4 minus 5 over 3. Now even here you have subtraction and you have to make the denominator same. Okay, so how do you make it same? What is the LCM of 4 and 3? It is equal to 12. So in order to get 12, I have to multiply this by 3. So this also by 3. This by 4. This also by 4. So here 16 minus, sorry, 48. Okay, the answer is equal to 48 minus 20. You have to subtract divided by 12. That is going to give me 24 over 12. Okay, you can still, was this part correct? Yes. So how do you solve further? You can write 2 over 1. The answer is simply equal to 2. Okay, now let us move on to, now using these calculations you can solve complex questions. Okay, one of the complex question is not, it is not much complex, problem solving questions. For an example, let us take, okay, the question says a tank takes 15 minutes to fill 3/4 of it. Now always let us construct diagrams for these types of questions. Okay, now this is the full tank in order to represent 3/4. Okay, to fill 3/4 of this tank, it is required how many minutes? Yeah, 15 minutes. You have to find the total time taken to fill the whole tank. How do you find out? Now see, you can just do these with diagrams also. Okay, but anyway you have to write sentences and then show them, but just by the diagrams you can get an idea. You can just compare your answers with the diagrams and check whether your answers are correct. Now see, if you consider this total tank and if you divide it into 4 equal parts, okay, out of 4 equal parts, to fill 3 parts it takes 15 minutes. All these 3 parts, it takes 15 minutes. You have to find the time taken to fill the whole tank. Whole tank means already how many parts? 4 parts. That means, in other words, you have to find the total time taken in order to fill all 4 parts. Okay, that is simple. So the way of solving is, you know, 3 parts take 50 minutes. Therefore, you can find the time taken to fill 1 part. So how much is it? 5 minutes. So 1 part is equal to 5 minutes. So altogether you have 4 parts. So 5 times 4 is equal to 20 minutes. That is the way of solving. So the answer you should get is 20. So let us say 3/4 of the tank. You can write sentences. The time taken, always write sentences. Okay, the time taken to fill 3/4 of the tank. That is equal to 15 minutes. The next sentence what I am going to write is that time taken to fill 1/4 of the tank. 1/4. So what should you do? You have to divide 15 minutes by 3. That is going to give me 5 minutes. Okay, now you have to find the time taken to fill the whole tank. So time taken to fill the whole tank. So whole tank consists of how many parts altogether? Yes, altogether 4 parts. So you have to multiply 5 minutes by 4. That is going to give me 20 minutes. So it takes altogether 20 minutes to fill the whole tank. Okay, was that part clear? These are the ways of solving. Okay. Let us move on to one more example. A question based on same theorem. An oil bottle was filled up to 5/7 with oil. Okay, an oil bottle, that's an oil bottle. Now you can draw any diagrams you want. Okay, you can even draw circles or whatever you like. So you have to consider 5/7 was filled with oil. So that means considering the whole bottle, altogether how many parts are there? 7 equal parts. So let me first draw that 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7. Okay, altogether 7. Out of that, 5 parts were filled. So this part, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 parts were filled. Okay, now after consuming 200 millimeters, now out of this 200 millimeters, yes, have been consumed. 200 millimeters have been consumed for some purposes. Okay, now what happens is that after consuming, the amount remaining in the whole tank is 3/5. Now after you consume this amount, now the total amount remaining in the tank is 3/5. Okay, that means the same tank after you consume, they are speaking of the same tank, same height, same tank, but this time the total tank is divided into how many parts? Yes, it is divided into 5 parts. Out of that, 3 parts is filled. That means they have given in some other fraction. The denominator is different. Understand? First 5/7 was filled. Out of that, when 200 millimeter was taken off, the amount remaining was, comparing with the whole tank, the amount remaining was 3/5. Okay, now let us solve. Now they are asking you to find, they are asking you to find the total capacity of the tank. What is the total capacity? How do you find? Okay, now you know the amount used, right? In value you know the amount used, and also in fractions you can find the amount used. That means initially this amount, this was the fraction, and finally after using, this was the balance remaining fraction. So the difference will give you the fraction used. So the amount, the fraction used, how much is it? You have to, you have to subtract 3/5 from 5/7. Now see, observe here, you have subtraction. The denominators are not same. This is where you have to make the denominator same. So LCM of 7 and 5 will give you 35. So you have to multiply this by 5, this by 7, this by 7. So here you have 5 times 5 is 25. 25 minus 21. That will give you 21/35, isn't it? Yes. sorry, not it should be 4, right? 25 minus 21, that is going to give you 4 over 35. Now this 4 over 35 is the amount consumed in fraction form. Now this fraction form is also equal to how much? 200 millimeters. Okay, now you can say amount 4 over 35 is equal to how much? 200 millimeters. That means if you consider the whole tank and if you divide the whole tank into 35 equal portions, out of that 4 portions is equal to 200 millimeters. So in order to find the total amount of the total capacity of the tank, what should you do? You have to find how much is the value for these 35 parts. Is that part clear? 4 parts is equal to 200 millimeters. Therefore, you have to find what is the amount which is equal to 35 parts. Okay. First, in order to solve this, let us say how much is one of these 35 parts. Okay. That is that you write it 1/35 of the tank. Was that part clear? Okay. Since they say 4 parts is equal to 200 millimeters, let us find how much is 1 part. So what should you do? You have to divide 200 millimeters by 4. That is going to give you 50 millimeters. Okay. So 1 part is equal to 50 millimeters. Now how do you find the total capacity of the tank? Yes, you have like these equal parts, you have altogether 35 parts remaining. So the total capacity, so I'll just say capacity, the total capacity is equal to 50 millimeters multiplied by how many equal parts are there? Altogether there are 35 parts. So what is the answer? So you have to multiply these two. That will give you 1750 millimeters. Okay, these are the basic types of questions you have. Okay, and there is something further, we'll be discussing it in the second part. So subscribe our channel in order to get the second part notification, and thanks for watching.